Hi there, welcome to No Nonsense Whiskey. My name's Vin PF, and on today's episode we're heading back over to Heroes and Heretics to check out a new release from them. Now this one over here is their latest in the Stateside brand, and I should say at the top of the show that this was sent in by Heroes and Heretics for me to review. Now this is the third in the Stateside brand, and we have a George Dickel on the table today, and a 10-year-old one at that. Now, the cool thing about this, if you're new to kind of Heroes and Heretics, I cover them a lot because I really like their products, and that's one thing I'll always impress in people if that I'm kind of getting freebies and whatnot. I only accept freebies from people that I really like as a brand, and these guys are one of those brands. They're pretty consistent at putting out great kind of single barrel stuff. More often than not, it's the kind of Stateside stuff that I really vibe on. You know, the last two Statesides have been absolutely stellar, and I have to say this one is no different. Spoiler alert on that. But let's go through a few of the vital statistics and see what we've got here. You know, as you can see, this is their really cool Stateside labelling. We can see on here George Dickel, distilled 24th of the 10th 2011, and bottled on the 5th of the 11th 2021. In this case, it was cask number 35. Sure, and bottle number 5 of 233, which I think is pretty good. It's a 50% whiskey. We like that sort of thing, and they always say kind of non-chill filtered, no added colour, whatnot. Of course, it's George Dickel, so that's a kind of Tennessee whiskey. They don't typically class themselves as bourbon, but they're all in the same sort of vein. I think there's a few little oddities to the rules, but I'm not here to go into that. You know, if you want to talk about that in the comments below, feel free to drop us with a big old bomb and I'll pin it. But you know me, no nonsense whiskey. I like to talk about the whiskey and not all the other gumph that comes with it on these videos. I do, however, like to do that in blog posts and on my Discord and things like that. So if you're into Discord, check out my description below and get the link to Discord, because it's a really good place to vibe with other people who like whiskey and whatnot. Getting back to this bad boy then, as I've said, I've always liked the Stateside stuff, so really interested in trying this. This one sells for about £90, but we'll get into that in a little bit. Let's get into the whiskey and see what we've got in the glass. Now, we can talk about colour because it's no added colour, really nice coppery colour. The big thing to note about this, and I did do kind of a touch of research beforehand, someone else might be able to tell me different, but George Dickel only has one mash bill as far as I could find, and that's an 84% corn, 8% rye and 8% malted barley. So we can get a kind of general idea about what we might be expecting from the tasting on this. But let's get into the nose and see what we've got. Now, I'm going to obviously do a disservice at the start because I always talk about the same things when it comes to bourbons, but they are there for a reason. We get those kind of like vanilla-y and oaky notes. Very prevalent, very up there on the detection at least. But for me, in the back end, I'm getting some kind of juicy fruits, almost like a melon vibe from this, and then almost like a nutty. It's like a candied almond kind of vibe on the back end of the nose. Really nice. It's really deep and really powerful. I'm glad this is down at 50%. You know, obviously they probably could have done like a cask strength version of this, but there's a reason why, and I think it's a good ABV. Really nice. Let's get onto the palate and see what we've got. Now again, the major tasting notes here are those vanillas, those honeys, those oaky elements that you would typically expect to get from something like this. But for me, I get a kind of like almost a slightly smoky cherry wood vibe from it. It's not kind of juicy and fruity enough to be called cherry specifically, but you'll know what I mean if you've ever burnt cherry wood on a barbecue. You get that slightly cherryness from it, but also the kind of smoky elements as well. And then once that disappears, that 8% rye is showing its head for me, getting a bit of that kind of rye spiciness on the back end, which leads into the finish, which is really long and really peppery. Most of the sweetness and the kind of vanillas and the honeys and stuff have disappeared, but you're still getting that kind of pepperiness, that spiciness coming through, and it isn't kind of souring or sweet really. It's just a really nice, really nice whiskey. Really nice whiskey. Yeah, I mean, I can enthuse about this all day long. Really love this whiskey. I've covered quite a lot of these things, and I always get to about here before I do the review. And they're always well worth it. Yeah. yes, as I always say on these videos, it is a lot of money. There's no disputing that. It is a lot of money, and I'm not sort of recommending that everybody, break the bank to try and get hold of stuff like this. However, it is worth the money, 100%. And especially these small independent brands that are really, really putting effort into selecting some incredible barrels, like Heroes and Heretics. A lot of they don't put out releases every month like some do. They're putting out, very, very rare whiskies that are just hard to get, especially in this country. George Dickel is hard to come by unless you know where you're looking. If you're part of like a bourbon community or whatnot, you'll find more stuff like that. Obviously, it's a bit more prevalent in the US, but then I have to say, if you're watching in the US, you're probably not going to be getting hold of this anyway, because it's come over one way. It's probably not going to go back again. But if you can, get hold of it. There's only a couple of hundred bottles of this, like I said. There's quite a lot on their website, and I'm not sure if it's on Master of Malt yet or whatnot. Like this literally has just come out like this week, so it might be hard to get hold of to start with, but definitely recommended you check these out. If you're not into spending the 90 quid on this, then I 100% recommend going and checking out some of their cheaper options. I've covered pretty much all of them, so if you find one that you want to see a review of, I've probably covered it. Go and check it out, and I recommend pretty much all of them in one way or another for different flavour profiles, especially the Smoke and Glories, but that's just me. Thanks for joining me again for this video. I'll be covering the other one. There's another new release. I'll be covering that fairly soon, but you'll have to look out for that one. See you again on more videos.